Hello and good morning again, you lovely people. Welcome back. And this video is going to be all about comment that I had. And the comment that I had, and I get several of these similar comments, so I thought I'd make a video about it. And the comment that I had was what made me come to the Philippines, and do I have any regrets? And the answer to that is no, I've got no regrets. And what I want to talk about is when you first decide that you've had enough of wherever you are, and you could be in any country, couldn't you? You could even be in the Philippines. But when you decide to move halfway around the world, your friends and your family will probably try and talk you out of it. And they depends on how heavily you are being influenced, and depending on how susceptible you are to being influenced will determine the outcome. Because many people will put bad things in your mind even before you've done something, and they will probably say to you, you will regret it, you're giving up everything here in your home country, and you're moving to a country that is still developing, where it's said that there are lots of scams going on. So why would you want to do that? And it's a good question, to be honest about it. It's a good question. But the thing is, if you don't do it, then that's a regret for you. And it's not a regret that someone's put in your mind. It's a regret that's manifested itself so deep in your mind that then that's just put you off. It's just scared you from doing it. The way that I look at it, and this is just my personal view of how I look at it, is life is full of chances. It's full of opportunities. Some of them are bad decisions. But if you don't act upon these decisions that could change your life, and let's be honest about it, people, I'm going to move out of this sun. That's what I'm going to be honest about. If we don't take chances, then we're always going to stay in that same place. We aren't going to move. We aren't going to come out of that comfort blanket. Now, sometimes staying in that comfort blanket isn't a bad thing. But at other times, it can stop us doing things that we want to do, or that we're thinking about doing. So, the longer you think about doing something, it's going to go two ways. It's going to go, the longer you think about it, it's going to put you off, because you're going to think of more obstacles. And the other way is, the longer you think about it, you might be thinking about actually doing it, thinking it through. Now, I didn't think it through. I'm honest, I didn't think it through, and I didn't have a plan. But that's another story. But what I did have was a strong will. And the strong will for me, and this is the other bit of land we're taking here. Oh, not yet. It was a strong will to actually make it work. And it doesn't matter where I move, I'm still in the sun. So you got to get off your ass and you got to do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Because many people can't adapt. And it does take some adapting. Some people adapt easy, some people don't. I'm easily adaptable to my surroundings, like a chameleon. I can blend in. But I understand some people can't. So we aren't all the same. Everyone's not the same. But I think the beauty of things now the good and bad of this beauty is there are a lot of channels that you can give advice. Whether it be good advice or whether it be bad advice, it's still there for you to make that, that choice. When I came here, I had a YouTube account, but I didn't have a channel. And I never really used to watch anything about the Philippines on YouTube. I really didn't. So I didn't know what I was coming into. But at least the newcomers, there are many channels now where you can get a good idea of whether it's going to be suited for you or whether it's not. And I know many foreigners here quietly suffering, in their silence because they've made that move here and they have regretted it and they stuck here. But the percentage of people who do come here and make a life here and actually like being here is probably higher than the people who don't like it here. So what I'm saying is, right or wrong, you've got to make it strong. If you don't try it, you'll never know. And regardless of what people are telling you, it's your life. It's what you want to do. And if you were feeling like I was feeling when I was in England, like stuck in a rut, and every day was Groundhog Day, then what have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? You've got the prices of your tickets, and maybe, because then you won't be buying anywhere, I'm sure you won't, if you're just coming over here just to, just to see how it is. And then you'll have the price of the hotels or wherever you're staying in, these apartments. So you aren't losing a lot by coming and seeing what it's like. But what I will say is just don't come for a few weeks and then make a decision, because everything will be new and you'll love it, maybe. You've got to give it longer than that, before you do actually make that big move. But listen, it's no big deal, people. It's not really. Providing you don't get rid of everything in your country and burn all your bridges, you can always go back. So it's not the end of the world if things actually don't work out for you here. But if you don't try, that's going to be a massive, massive regret when you sat there 5 years down the line in your home country thinking, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? That's the biggest regret that you probably have. And like I said, don't take too much notice of people. I know they probably are your loved ones and they are looking out for you, but it's your life. And how they are talking is probably talking you out of it, is because it's something that they wouldn't do. So don't take that as a bad, as a bad thing. Just take it as that's their perspective. And it does take a brave person, believe it or not, to actually leave their country and go to a foreign country halfway around the world and make a new life there. Because it's not easy. It might be easier in a first world country because you've got all the amenities and everything is good, the infrastructure is good and things like that. But here, we haven't really got a good infrastructure. And it doesn't matter where you are, you will get brownouts. It just depends. If you're in a province like I am, we get more of them. But I'm used to that, and it doesn't really bother me. These days you can get solar panels and all that, and you can, if you don't want to, stretch your budget that far, you can get a generator just to cope for them times that you have got a brownout. Because it does get damn hot, especially now, without some kind of electric fan or air conditioning. So that'll probably be a necessity for you. Regrets. I haven't got any regrets at all. None. Not one. There was a couple of times, in fact probably more than a couple of times, that I was here and I did think, oh God, what have I done? But this was in the early years. This was within the first year of being here, because I was stung. I was stung in a considerable way when I first got here. And if you've been following, you will know what I'm talking about. But after that, I just picked myself up, and I then kind of integrated myself with the local people more. And then for me, then I started to really enjoy it here more. But that's not for everybody. And where I live, and how I live isn't for everybody. But this is just my personal preference of how we live. And you people know, you're like, I'm out in the sticks, and some things are inconvenient, but the good for me outweighs those inconveniences that I sometimes have. Like I'd like sometimes to, say to my wife, come on, we'll go to like a restaurant just up the road, but there isn't any. So we have to go to Dipolog. But that's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. Many of you will probably like to go, to the cities. But for me, the cities are always hotter, and it's hot here, and we are in the province with all the trees and everything. So it's a few degrees less here the more it is in a city, and it's still damned hot here at times, especially at this time of the year. So that will be a big, like a big decision is where you want to live and how you want to live. Now you could come here with a lot of money, and you can still live a poor life. It just depends on what you want to do. For us, we get by on what we get by on, and we don't go without. Yes, we have a budget, but I think wherever you're coming from, if you've got a normal job like a 9 to 5 in your own country, you're on a budget, and it'll be the same here. But the difference is you'll be able to do more on that budget here, generally, depending on your lifestyle. But we aren't here to talk about budgets. We're talking about making that step. Many people can't, and they are not willing to adjust to a new life after the novelty of being here for a while has worn off. Or you might have gone through a relationship here that's just gone a bit Pete Tong, and then you're thinking, oh God, what am I here for? Well, I think I've said this before, I'm not sure, but don't come here solely just for the woman. You've got to love the place equally as much, because that relationship might not work. Might not. 9 times out of 10 it probably does, I don't know. But you've got to love the place as well, because if you only come here for a woman, that's really not the thing to do, because anything can happen then, and then you might not be really enjoying where you are. You're only here because of that woman. Well, that's not the thing to do, I don't think, really. You've got to love the place and settle in and make it your home. Now, as many people have said, and it's true in a sense, is we are guests here. The visas that we have, whether it be a retirement, a tourist, 13A, it's still a visa. It's still a privilege. Now, obviously with the SRRV and the 13A, you've got a few more privileges with that. You're a permanent resident. You've gone through interviews with immigration. They've done background checks on you. So you have got a little bit more, you're not just a hidey-high, the hidey-high, like a tourist, a holiday maker. But you do anything wrong, and any visa you have can be revoked. So bear that in mind. Don't come here and you get married, or you get that a retirement visa, and you think you can do what you want. You simply can't. You can't. The law is the law, and the law here is to protect the citizens. As horrible as it might seem to you guys, we are simply guests. We are guests. But if you aren't a law-breaking person, it doesn't matter if you're a guest or not. You're still going to be here for as long as you want, okay? If you start to break the law, or you do stupid things in your barangay, wherever you live, start upsetting the people, then things are going to turn nasty quite quickly. And you can make a lot of enemies very quickly here. And they don't forget. That being said, I think I'm selling the Philippines here. I love it. It's never done me any wrong, apart from the first time I come here, but that was me being green. I didn't know anything about the Philippines. I didn't do any research. I didn't do anything. These days, luckily, we have YouTube, and there are a lot of vloggers here that tell you budgets, their budgets. I wouldn't take a lot of notice of their budgets, because that's for them, okay? But I suppose it gives you a general sense. So I suppose it's good in that way. It gives you a general idea. And just do it. You know, don't let another year go by thinking, oh, I'll do it this year, I'll do it this year, because you might not. And when you get older, like me, each year that goes by, we can't get that back. And that's a year that we've spent in a country that we've been considering leaving. So we've had another unhappy year where we could have had that year spent somewhere else. And it doesn't necessarily be in the Philippines. It can be anywhere that you've got an idea of going to. I can only speak of the Philippines. And to me, I wouldn't move anywhere else. I'm locked here now. You know, this is my home, and I shall surely die here. And not for a long time yet, people, not for a long time yet. I don't want to be thinking of them things, but in reality, this is where I would probably die. And I've got a good little life, simple little life. You don't want a complicated life when you get older. That's the last thing you want, a complicated life. I just keep it simple. I keep myself to myself. You know, I don't get involved in disputes around here. Then there is quite a lot of chismis around here, maritis, whatever you want to call it, marites, where they gossip and talk about things. Keep away from that. And that doesn't matter where you are in the Philippines, you will come across that, because they love it. They love it. They thrive on it. Men included, not just the women, men included. Keep away from it. Keep yourself to yourself. Join the local people when you want to join the local people for a drink, a birthday, a fiesta or something like that. But surely try and integrate yourself to it. And that's what I'm going to say. Integrate yourself into the community where you will be staying. It will pay dividends. Not financially, but you will know what's going on. You will be part of that community. And they know, the local people know better than any YouTube vlogger of the things to do and the things not to do. They know better than anybody. Vloggers, even like myself, we can only give our experiences and how we think it works here. Because what works in this barangay, for me, would not work, probably not, in a different barangay. It's just what works where you are. Make friends with the barangay captain. Go and introduce yourself to him. It's very important that you do that. And every barangay captain I've met, they've been very, very accommodating, very friendly, and they actually like talking to the foreigner. And another thing I'll say, I think I've said it before, is try and learn some of the local language where you are, because that will pay dividends as well, because the people actually enjoy it when you can speak a little bit of it. You don't have to become fluent, but definitely try and learn it. Try and learn some of it so you can get by, because if you're sat in a group of people and you don't know who these people are, you'll be in a different barangay at a fiesta or something, and they're talking, and if you don't understand anything what they're talking about, they could be talking bad things about you. But at least if you can pick up some words, then you can make a decision to leave, or a decision to stay there and to join them if they're not talking bad things about you. And they will love that. They love it. They smile. And when they say to me, how long you been here? And I tell them, oh, you speak Visaya? And I just, gamay lang, like small. Hinay lang. And they love that. They love that, So that's just a few little tips. But listen, don't let people put you off. It's your life. Your life is not the same as anybody else's life. We're all individuals. We all have different ideas of happiness and contentment. Don't be put off by people. Otherwise, you'll never do anything. Take the chance. Get out of that comfort blanket a little bit. If you don't, you're never going to experience anything different. That's it, people. I'm over and out. I've got work to do in this orchard. I've got work to do today. Not a lot, but I've got a little bit. Every day, you've got to keep on top of it. Keep on top of it every day. So that means tomorrow, the work I do today doesn't need doing tomorrow, and such things. People, thank you very much for your continued support and for watching the video. Over and out. Thank you, people. Bye-bye.